Welcome to the Biz Bash podcast, where we make biz strategy a piece of cake. I'm Elizabeth.
And I'm Cami, but you might know us better as Eliza Ann Calligraphy and Cami Monet. We want to help you, our fellow stationers, artists, and calligraphers, confidently build a profitable and personality-driven creative biz.
We're here to share our honest-to-goodness advice and actionable strategies for ambitious artists.
So put on your party hat, quit being a procrastinator gator, and let's get this party started. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Biz Birthday Bash podcast. It is officially a new year, 2021. We did it. Woo, woo. I love New Year's, you guys. I get so excited having like a fresh new slate of possibilities. Anyway, I know I'm a big dork about that, but we're so excited to finally be back recording again, and we are going to do our 2020 year in review. So this is just basically our look back over the past crazy year, talking about our numbers, our growth or our decrease in growth, things we were stagnant in, things we did well in, and just kind of looking at a bird's eye view of our entire business. So this is always a good exercise for us. We recommend you guys do it too, but also who doesn't love to hear other people's numbers in their business? I know I love it. So we get very honest with you guys in this episode and just break down our entire business for you by the numbers, basically.
By the numbers. Instead of paint by number, it's just talk by number.
It is talk by number.
That was super lame. I'm going to pretend I didn't say that.
Oh my God. We are starting off strong in 2021. Here we go.
And we actually are recording this in 2021.
We are behind.
We're still behind and we're still regrouping. But once we get this week under control, we should get back into the normal batching schedule and rhythm of things. But I will say this was great practice for me to sit down yesterday and really do a deep dive into what my numbers looked like for the year. Because even though I kind of keep tabs on my bookkeeping, I don't always do a good job of doing like a report to understand where I'm making money from or how I'm making money or like what percentage of my income is from weddings versus products and things like that. So I really enjoyed this exercise and it made me feel better about the year overall.
Good. Yeah. I mean, it is very interesting. Like just even the income category breakdown, I think is like my most favorite thing to do, to see like what percentage of your income comes from this part of your business. And you're just like, okay, that makes sense because that's what I worked the hardest on this year versus like, and it's interesting to see of like comparing to the last year too. I mean, especially this year, it's just like its own anomaly. So, I mean, 2020 just felt like the longest year, but also the shortest year. Like, I don't even know. Like, I feel like it went by so quickly, but also I feel like when I remember things that happened in 2020, it feels like it happened 5 years ago. You know what I mean?
Oh, totally. Yeah, because it was like we had quote unquote normal life for the first 2 months. So like I went to a bachelorette party in Joshua Tree in California in February. And then in March, everything shut down and life was like entirely different. So now when I think of that bachelorette trip, I'm like, that feels years ago. It feels like it was years ago.
Oh my gosh, I did a bachelorette trip in February too. I forgot. Like I went to Disney with everybody and that felt like, that literally feels like years ago. And now my friend has a baby. Mm-hmm. So now it really does feel like years ago. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Man, this is so crazy. I know. And I totally forgot that we did open Stationer Summit this year too. Like I was like, when I was looking at your monthly thing, I completely forgot we did that.
Yep. Yep. We opened it once in April. And even for me to see that that was on the calendar was like, holy cow, like totally spaced. And obviously too, it was in April. So we were in like a month into COVID shutdowns at that point and quarantine and all of that. So our minds were very much like elsewhere at the same time.
Yeah, it was definitely a weird time with launching a course again. Like, oh my goodness. This year, yes. I love how you wrote down all your month things and I didn't do that because I just feel like it was all such a blur. Like, I don't know, but we'll try to do our best to go over that part. But I got my numbers. I got those. I'm ready.
Yes, you got your numbers. I liked writing down my month by month because it made me realize like that there was so much for me to be thankful for in 2020 because it's easy to look at 2020 as just kind of like the worst year of our lives and this and that. And I don't know. I think of it more as the most different year of our lives.
Yeah.
Like not the worst. It was just like the most different year from anything we have ever had before. Yeah, it was not necessarily fun, but there are a lot of good
Yeah, I mean,
parts.
every year is going to have like ups and downs and weird things. It's just that 2020 was like weird in a way nobody expected.
Yes, yes, that we can collectively say that everyone experienced like a collective trauma,
Collective weirdness.
whereas like each year is more of like an
Mhm.
individualized, like losing a loved one or something that you experience on your own. And COVID was kind of like a collective, like grief in
Yeah.
a way of trying to process it. And obviously, like it's not over. So that was the craziest thing too, is I was like, woo, 2021, gonna be a lot of the same for a while, but hopefully this is the year we start seeing things shift towards what we once knew.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. So let's talk numbers. I'm trying to figure out like where is a good jumping in point here.
Starting
Yeah.
point. Well, I did a cute little like a brief overview of just like
Yeah,
year
that's
by the
cute. Start
numbers,
there.
quote unquote, for me. And so I was like, okay, I sold 97 wax seals. I sold 300 ornaments. I had 2 weddings postponed because I didn't have a ton booked for 2020. So in a way, I guess that was kind of like a relief that I didn't have to deal with a zillion postponements. I launched my new website. So 1 new website launched, 1 successful secret project, 1 Glowforge purchase, and 1 new house.
Those are all very big things and very exciting. One new
Yes.
house that came with a cat, which I love.
That's true. I should have put half of a new cat because we jokingly call him our step cat, Gilligan.
Yeah, that's like Kenny. Kenny's like a half cat. When people say, I say I have 2.5 because he's foster and he's still here.
Yep. Yep. And I can look out my window right now and he's sitting out there in the sun and it's so cute.
Precious baby.
But I have to say, like, people probably think we're terrible cat parents because if they drive by at night, they just see a cat sitting, staring into the house at the front door. And they're probably like, why aren't those people letting their cat inside? And thankfully, our neighbor right across the street, like, knows and understands the
Yeah.
situation because, Gilligan's been around since March and the previous owners were taking care of him. So it was just funny. So, yes, half of a new cat.
Okay. Gosh, I just like don't know where to begin, Elizabeth. I'm so sorry. Okay. I'm going to start with
Just dive into your overall stuff. Go for it. Why not?
okay. I'm going to just start with overall big picture of the year. So overall this year in 2020, I saw a 26% income increase, like overall income, but a 13% profit decrease. So I was making more money, but not pocketing as much money. And that is because I spent a whole lot of money this year launching new products, adding on a VA, which I didn't have that expense before, and then paying for Instagram followers with giveaways. I did a ton of those, and those were not cheap. And last year, I did mostly weddings, so my expenses are way lower with weddings. It's more just like the time and actual just like a mental hurdles for the weddings instead of money as much. So my income goal for 2020 that I wanted for myself was $250,000, and I hit $200,000, so still pretty good. And with the weddings that I had slated that were postponed or canceled, I would have been really, really close to hitting that number. But also at the same time, I'm not sure if I would because I wouldn't have put as much focus into the products, so it probably would have evened out now that I'm thinking about it. But I am really proud of like my shift this year towards going towards more products. Like I think the shift really happened in May and June after I did one a day in May, just like figured everything out, just kind of like all started to click very slowly. And if you like look at my numbers of the year on like a little graph, you can see it's just like flat, flat, flat. And then in like June, July, it just like starts to go uphill so fast. And then December is just like a skyrocket. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh, like it's very cool to see like the timing of exactly when I was like, okay, I'm going to start focusing on products now, and literally like shifted my attention, how much that started to pay off. So like, that's why I'm so excited for 2021, I think, is because this will be like the first full year where I'm going to have like the majority of my focus on products. So it feels like the first year of a business actually is what it feels like a little bit, because it's like a whole new not new, but like a whole new direction for a full year, if that makes sense.
Yes, I absolutely get that, and I'm just so happy that you did do one a
Me
day in
too.
May because I can totally see too where that shift happened for really honing in on your style as we know it now. And then that was also around the time too that you were drawing up some like of the mood boards for your new branding and things like that. And so it kind of clicked this look that Cami Monet has now in the direction you were going, and things were just flying all over the place and a new product every day. And I don't know, I think it just got other people really excited too, people who were watching you and rooting for you, and like other creatives buying things when you would put them on pre-sale. And it's been fun to watch you. And finally freaking found a Southern Living magazine the other day, guys, at
Well, I can't believe
Publix.
you
Like,
found one the day I bought you one. I was like, oh, there's one. I'm going to get it for Elizabeth then because I have a little package I want to mail you, and I was going to put it in there. And then you're like, I just got one. I was like, well, what the heck? So I was like, I guess I'll keep this one too.
guys, I can't tell you in December how many times I went to the grocery store or wherever to just try to find a copy of Southern Living so I could see Cammie's pencil feature. And gosh, I was there the other day grocery shopping, not looking for it because I'd given up. It's January like 3rd or something, and then there's one right there on the checkout lane at Publix. And I was like, you have got to be kidding me.
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm glad you finally got your hands on one and got to see it in the wild and in person. It's very exciting.
Yes.
Yeah, that was like, I feel like the culmination of all like my product efforts and wholesale outreach and media outreach with my VA. And then that happened. I was like, okay. Like it was like a very good validation, that I'm like heading in the right direction. So
Yeah. So she's for sure you're continuing with your VA,
yeah,
right?
I'm definitely continuing with her. And then this year too, possibly, I think my sister-in-law, she mentioned she wanted to start working for me doing packaging because I was like, who would want to work for me like 2 hours a day, like something like that. But she mentioned she would be really interested in it. And so might bring her on like in the summer so we can like prepare for the holidays and stuff because she drops her son off at school and it's literally like right next to my house. So she's like over there in the morning anyway. So it kind of makes sense. Yeah. So we're going to see how it goes. So that would be really good.
That would be really
I know.
Mhm.
So that's kind of exciting because I think one of the things for 2021 is I really need to bring someone in to help with packaging and shipping stuff. And I want to have them earlier rather than later. So it's not just like me trying to train them in December. It's like they're here and like know what's going on kind of thing.
Yes, I agree. Because if you thought this Christmas was huge, which it was, I have a feeling that next year is going to be even crazier.
Yeah, exactly. So if I keep like pushing for that, because it's like you always are pushing for growth, but then I'm like, but at what point do I like not want growth anymore? But I don't know. I don't feel like I'm at that point yet. Like it's still kind of fun. So, and like having that person who's able to package and ship things is like something anyone can actually do and like something that's very outsourceable, it's like, it's very easy to delegate that versus like anything else. So I'm like, why have I not? But I don't know. So that will be something I need to definitely start making plans for in the new year.
I'm so happy to hear you say it because I feel like I've been saying it for a while.
Yeah, I mean, it's still been, I obviously like, it's really important to me that like I maximize my profit as much as possible. And with the workload, I was like, there's really no reason to bring anyone in yet. Like there's just not. There's no point in paying someone for something that I can easily handle right now. But just like looking ahead, I definitely want to have that for next year.
Yes. Because let's say theoretically you pop out a child in December. I have no idea. It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. Who knows?
And it's like, you would need someone to be shipping stuff 100%. That could happen any minute.
I'm like, well, the way my life goes, I feel like I would 100% be like the one having a baby like right at the busiest time of my year because that would just be like, and I would be like, bring it on. Let's do it. Oh, like actually I would love that. That'd be great. Yep. So yeah, it would be great to have someone who is here. So yeah.
Yeah, and especially because Alex knows how to package things too. So it's like you have him in your corner too. And if it's him and his sister, they could just be the dynamic duo
I know.
packaging
And my
things.
mother-in-law, oh my gosh, she did so much for me this year. Like, she is a factory, and it was incredible. So I had lots of helping hands this year, and it made it a lot of fun, a lot easier for me as well.
Yeah, lots of free helping hands. So very blessed.
Lots of free helping hands, which is great. I love that.
Right. Find people in your corner. Like, that's for sure, because there are a lot of people who are willing to just dedicate their time to the loved ones in their life.
I know. It was kind of fun. It was like we were all at Santa's workshop. I had like Christmas music going. Like, my father-in-law was going to get bins at the post office. It was like chaotic. I loved it.
Okay. Do you want to dive into your income category breakdown?
Sure. Yeah, I'll do that. And
Perfect.
then you can do your overview and then your income category breakdown. That way it just flows. Okay. So here's my 2019 versus 2020 income category breakdown, because I think this is really interesting to see for you guys to hear like how our business has shifted with this new year. So in 2019, weddings were 50% of my income breakdown. And then in 2020, they were only 18%. So that number went way down. Obviously, I took on less clients, but also so many of them postponed or canceled, or, some of the stuff is now we're doing this year. So I'll have those. So that was just a whole new thing. And then retail, which is Etsy and my website, in 2019 was 25% of my income. And in 2020, skyrocketed up to 66% of my income, which is a very large chunk for retail. And then wholesale, 2019, it was 15% of my income. And 2020, it was 11%. I just also want to mention, too, that my wholesale did grow a ton in 2020. I actually doubled my wholesale revenue over last year, but the number just went down because retail went up so much. So it's just like...
Yeah, I was going to say, I was like, that's kind of an odd paradox almost.
Yeah, it's like the category breakdown of it, like the percentage of it went down, but the amount of orders and revenue from it went up. But like also my income went up this year as well. So it all kind of makes sense once you think about it that way. But just a little side note.
Right. I mean, and wholesale, though, is half price off retail.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to do a whole ton to make up for what you're, selling face value.
Exactly. And then licensing last year was 7% of my income, and then this year was 6%. So nothing really changed there. I was working with Papyrus a lot last year, and then they shut down because of COVID. So a lot of projects that were on deck to happen in 2020, they just basically were like, hey, we're not doing these cards anymore. And they just started back up. And so we just started working together again. So hopefully, I'm hoping that goes up again this year, because I really love working with them. And that also includes the things with like American Flat, where I got my stuff in Target and things like that, or like Casetify. Actually, I don't know if I put that in there. Anyway, it probably stayed the same, actually, because some things went up and some things went down. And then these are kind of guesstimates. It was 3% last year, 2% this year. I'm not really sure, but that's like all my income affiliate revenue. So like Amazon, Flowdesk, any type of affiliate programs I'm a part of, Tula, Daily Harvest, those types of things. So a small percentage, but still notable. So yeah, that's the income breakdown. So obviously the huge takeaway there is that really my products are basically 80% of my revenue this year, with retail and wholesale together. Gosh. So I really shifted in a massive, massive way from weddings to products. And obviously that shows. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool though. It's an amazing change, and there's just more exciting things to come. I'm just excited for you in 2021.
I know. I think I've always been so scared to like make that shift into products, because I'm like, how I have to sell like 1 million greeting cards to make what I make in a wedding. You know what I mean? So I was like always afraid that I was going to like lose a ton of money with it, which my profit did go down this year. But also I know I spent a lot of money on other things that I could have saved, so like the whole paying for giveaways to gain followers, to grow my product side, that kind of thing. So it's just like looking at it in a different way. So I am like really proud that I was able to like basically maintain with doing products instead of just weddings. So I'm like, it gives me like a little peace of mind going into 2021.
I wish I could remember what episode it was when we talked about the Instagram giveaways you paid to be a part of, because we get so many questions from people all the time that are like, Cami paid for followers? And it's like, yes, but you paid for a very specific niche where you knew it was like, it would appeal to people who like your products, if
Yeah,
that
so let me
makes
just do like a
sense.
quick little rundown on that so people aren't like, what the heck is going
Yes,
on? But
do
like,
it.
I
Mhm.
would pay money to be a part of a giveaway. I'm sure you've seen them. They're like really annoying where it's like, go follow all these people, follow these 50 people and to be entered into this giveaway for 3 people are winning $5,000 or whatever. And usually like 10 influencers or bloggers will promote it. So it could be someone who was on The Bachelor, or it could be like, lots of beauty influencers or fashion influencers, like people who, and I would look and see like, okay, these are the type of people who have like the type of followers that I want to have, who are interested in buying, like that kind of thing. So I was like really picky with which ones I chose to be a part of, but I do think they were like a good strategy for me in terms of growing my audience. Obviously, I made a ton of growth, and the best ones I did were the ones where I got emails from. I think I grew my email list by about 11,000 this year just by doing these giveaways. Of course, you have to nurture that audience. It's not like you just get like instant money from people being on your list, but it also added clout to my Instagram, which was really cool too, because I feel like people, when they see you have more followers, are like, oh, she must be a bigger deal. So it did give me more clout with like brands, working with brands and stuff like that. And then just like in terms of stores, I just felt like it gave me like, I don't know, like I guess I already said clout, but it did give me that. And then I've had a lot of messages from people being like, oh, I found you through the giveaway. I'm so glad I started following you. I got all my Christmas stuff from you. So I was like kind of preparing for that like Christmas rush with like people looking for shopping small and like having that built-in audience already. So now it's just a matter of like nurturing it even more.
Mhm. Yeah.
But they're real people, guys. They're not like bot followers. I think that's what people get confused.
Yes. They're real
Yeah.
people, and yeah, that's why that was, like, great clarification, just, like, a minute or 2 explanation of what that was, 'cause we did go into a lot of depth too in another episode, but of course, I have no idea
I have no
which
idea
one that
either. I can't
was.
remember like what anything is in. It might have been in a Q and cake. Everyone asks me like, oh, what episode was it? I'm like, probably a Q and cake because I just don't remember.
Yeah. Probably. All right, guys, we're going to take a quick break, and right after this, we will dive into my yearly breakdown via numbers.
Hey guys, we share a ton of free, helpful info here on the podcast, but if you're looking to go deeper, you need our Business Sense for Creatives bundle. This is our foundational resource. We share it all: our pricing strategies, marketing plans, our favorite print partners, real-life examples of our invoices and workflows, and so much more. Literally, it is amazing. It really is the comprehensive guide for a money-making creative biz.
So, with the bundle, you'll get access to our 3 webinar replays: Pricing with Purpose, How to Be Confident When It Comes to Charging Your Worth; People and Publicity, How to Find Clients and Deliver an Awesome Experience; and lastly, Productivity and Processes, How to Run Your Business Efficiently and Get Crap Done.
And not to mention, you'll also get our 3 bonus PDF party favors. What? We've heard from students that these are worth the price of it alone. So the party favors are pricing FAQs, the SEO cheat sheet, and a mini favorite vendors guide to get you started on where to print invitations.
So, just to clarify, that is not only 3 awesome video recordings, but 3 bonus PDFs as well that support the content from the videos. So, I think it's a pretty good deal.
Totally. It's the best deal out there. And you have lifetime access to it, which also adds to the whole value. So,
woohoo! Don't take it from us, though. Take it from the hundreds of students who have learned from the bundle and have said that these were the best, most real, and informative webinars that they've ever watched. We've seen students double their prices after watching these and totally skyrocket their businesses.
This is our roadmap of how we got to where we are today, so skip the mistakes and speed bumps, doing it the slow way, and let us put you on the fast track to running a creative biz like a boss and pricing for profit and not just pay.
And the best part, this resource is less than $100. Seriously, y'all, it's only $97, and it's so worth that price and much more. So go to bizbirthdaybash.com/bundle to purchase it today. All right, so we're back. This is Elizabeth. I am going to break down, kind of really similar to how Cami did, percentages of things like between 2019 and 2020 to just show you guys how things shifted. My revenue goals were very different from Cammy's. Cammy, you are just like a powerhouse in terms
you.
of like weddings and products and just everything you're doing. So, like, my revenue goal was 60,000 for, well, at the beginning of the year, what I thought was going to be all weddings. Ha ha ha. Like, hilarious. And I ended up doing 57,000 in revenue, so income. That's not profit, but I was still happy with that because obviously Cami and I are on payroll for Biz Birthday Bash as well, which is like the really great thing about having two businesses. So I don't put like a ton of pressure per se on revenue goals for Eliza Ann because I just seek a very like happy balance between the two businesses, and I just like don't have as much energy as Cami. This is just
Because
like
you don't drink
the
coffee. You
reality.
don't drink coffee, Elizabeth. That's what it is.
Ugh.
Oh yeah, we should mention too. Biz Birthday Bash is not in these things, or it's like a totally separate thing. This is just like our businesses.
Yes, yeah. These revenue breakdowns are our personal businesses. So Eliza Ann Calligraphy LLC, and then Cami Monet. We have not actually ever done income report breakdowns for Biz Birthday Bash because I don't see how that would really help anyone because it's a completely different business model.
Yeah.
But if you guys are curious about that and want to hear about that, like maybe we would share.
Well, it's just like 100% selling our resources. Like you guys know, like I don't know. It's not really.
Yeah,
I don't know what anyone would really learn from that, but
exactly. It's like all online revenue
Yeah.
essentially. Okay, so back to my breakdown of things. So my weddings look very similar because in 2019 they were 60% of my revenue, and this year they were 25%. So actually higher than I thought because when I estimated this at first, I kind of like threw out a number. I was like, oh, I'm pretty sure this dropped to like 10, maybe 12%. And once I went back and crunched the numbers, I was pleasantly surprised by the fact that it was 25% because I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot I addressed some envelopes here, or I did this like random project here. And oh, yeah, I did get some like really big payments, like down payments for clients that booked, even if they did postpone or reschedule. So I was, like I said, relatively happy with that. It wasn't as bad as it could have been. So then the products went from 10% in 2019 to 13% of my revenue in 2020. And I have like 3 different product sources, I guess. So like my Eliza Ann Etsy, which it's not even linked to my Eliza Ann website, LOL. Because it's like they don't really like tie together anymore. I don't know. It's weird because I still sell wax seals through this Eliza Ann Etsy, and I wanted to move them to Thank You Society, and it just did not happen because of COVID. Because the manufacturer I was talking to in China like dropped off the face of the earth, and I actually am legit concerned like that something might have happened to her because I just never heard anything back, and they haven't been active on Instagram or anything.
So yikes.
So yikes. But anyways, reeling it back in. So my Eliza Ann Etsy shop, my Thank You Society Etsy shop, and then Thank You Society Shopify. So I spread it out into these 3 things because I wanted to see how they broke down for each of them. So the revenue on the Eliza Ann Etsy was a little more than 3,000. The Thank You Society Etsy was right around 2,500, and the Thank You Society Shopify was right around 1,500. So in terms of like profit margins and all of that stuff, I did not go into a huge deep dive to break all of that down because products aren't my focus in the long run. It was more of like a little bit of a shift I made this year because of COVID, because who didn't shift to products because of COVID? Let's be real. Pretty much like everyone in our industry, I think, like stationery wise, started selling a lot more greeting cards or thank you note sets or notepads, just a lot of different things to try to make up for the lack of weddings happening. So I was like, okay, I'm still like pleasantly surprised by that like revenue was there. So here's like the most shocking one, which like obviously I can't give a ton of details on. And it's not that I can't, like I don't have an NDA or anything. It's that I have like personally chosen not to like publicly share about this product.
Why? I don't understand.
This
is so hard for me. Like, this is so hard for me. I don't have to be like, oh my gosh, you guys, Elizabeth did this, because like think how I was when my friend was pregnant and she was waiting to tell everyone at the table and I was about to like explode. That's how I feel right now.
It's because it's just like not an official like service that's like built into my brand. So, and I realized I said product before, project. I meant to say project, my top secret project. But I have put this into a category called contracting, basically. So I have done work behind the scenes for another company in the industry to like help them with some things, basically. That's as specific as I'm going to be. But obviously, I had like 0% contracting for anyone, or even like freelancing, maybe could be a good word. I don't know.
I don't know.
Yeah, consulting, that's kind of a good word for it too. Because Cami knows what it is. I'm so sorry, guys, that I am not sharing with you. Maybe someday. I just haven't decided because I'm like, could this go somewhere? Could it not? I don't know. So 0% in 2019. And that made up for 50% of my revenue in 2020. So like half of the revenue I made, which was also all profit, just FYI, because I had like no expenses for that project. I was like being paid for my time and expertise, 50% of my revenue. And so I'm like, dang, am I just totally in the wrong field of work now?
You're like, what am I doing? It's still in the creative realm too. It's not like totally off the wall. Like it's, yeah.
No. Yeah, it's still in the creative realm. It's still like in the industry. So, yeah, I guess I kind of have to like sit back and think about it because Cami has known this about me, but I've always joked with her. I'm like, my ideal like job is one that doesn't require any social media and I can just be a wallflower and no one needs to know who I am, but I do a really good job at what I do and I make a lot of money. And that's like basically what this project was for me. And my contract actually for that still goes through the end of this year, the end of 2021. So that's really exciting for me because I'll continue to get revenue from that.
Okay, if someone guesses what it is, are you going to tell them if they're right or wrong?
If somebody guesses, I would probably tell them
guys,
that they're right.
Send in your guesses.
I'm like, I feel like if you have been watching what I've been doing and what Cami and I have been doing,
I feel like it's figure outable.
And have also watched this person, it's figure outable. Totally. But that's just me. And it makes me laugh because it also reminds me of like the small biz memes account and everyone's trying to like guess who's behind the small biz memes account. I feel like this is my own personal like keeping a facade or like staying hidden or whatever. Yeah, there's very, very few people that know. Like Cami knows, maybe Kelly. Like, maybe you guys are like the two people I've told. So I have to see if that goes somewhere like more serious for me in the future. But oh gosh, it's tough. Sometimes it's so hard because I just want to do everything. Okay. So then live events were 15% in 2019, 2% in 2020. I managed to sneak in a couple right before the lockdown. Brilliant. And actually, Resi, they do like a lot of like restaurant reservations, I think. Is that what the company does? RESY, Resi. They had reached out to me to do some calligraphy place cards, and I looped this into the live events category for my income bracket, even though it's technically like a little different, but it's not a wedding, so I don't know.
I feel like that fits there better.
That fits there, and that could totally be a door like through them to have potentially done more things in person. So they paid me $325 to do some place cards for an event that got canceled because of COVID. I never actually did the place cards. And so in December, I reached out to them and I was like, hey, obviously I never did the place cards for you. And this event never got rescheduled. So I'm going to go ahead and refund you guys the $325 because like I don't want that on my books for 2020. And she was like, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. You can keep it.
Sweet. Like a little bonus there.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, well, thank you. Like, That's so nice. I like didn't know what to say. I was so like dumbfounded. And obviously like $325, it's not like the lottery or anything, but I'm like, that's still pretty generous that the company would just like relinquish those
Yeah, they're
funds.
like, oh, this is
Even
pocket
though,
change. Keep it.
yeah, to
Yeah,
them,
they
right?
don't
To
care.
them, it like totally is. So then my affiliate payments went from 10% in 2019 to 7% in 2020. And I have to say, I am kind of like thrilled about that because I hardly even talked about
That
anything
is
this
awesome.
year, but I still made like good money doing affiliate stuff. And I have a whole breakdown too of all my affiliate revenue streams, which I can talk about right now if you think I
Yeah,
should.
go right ahead. Dive in. I said it. Oh, Lord.
But I will. That's okay. I've already said it a couple
Whatever.
times this episode. It's hard not to dive in. Okay, so then my last category was like the other 3%. And those are like when I did a lot of like office sales, like, hey, I'm moving and I'm selling all these things. And do you want to buy them from me? So I think that's where a lot of like the other revenue came
Yeah.
from. I was like trying to figure it out yesterday. I was like, where is all this like other revenue coming from? Okay, so I'm going to break down my affiliate revenue streams real quick. So, Google AdSense, I consider it to be affiliate because it is just advertisements running on my YouTube videos. I have not added like any YouTube videos in a long time, you guys, to my YouTube channel, but I still made $1,840 in passive ad revenue
Amazing.
from
It's so
Google.
cool. Oh my
Yes.
gosh. I know. You should just bring
And
back the YouTube. The YouTube. Bring it back.
here is the crazy thing. $824 in 2019. It more than doubled. And it's because everyone was stuck at home and everyone was just watching YouTube. I swear that has to be the reason for it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So that was like kind of cool to see that number. Dubsado, I did $390, which was maybe on par with kind of what I did last year. QuickBooks Self-Employed, $450 in affiliate revenue, $783 last year. Also does not surprise me at all because I switched platforms to GoDaddy, which I love GoDaddy, but it's like a little boo for the, I was like a really great affiliate for QuickBooks Self-Employed, I feel
Yeah.
like, and made good money. But that is okay because I am willing to trade a little bit of money for my sanity when it comes to bookkeeping. Amazon affiliates, $321 this year, $795 last year. And I swear they just keep chopping those commissions because, like, once again, I didn't promote
You
it
just get like a few
though.
cents from everything, but like that's like my 5 faves email is basically all just for affiliate revenue. Now I'm curious to see what Amazon actually was, so I'm gonna have to go look. Okay.
Yeah, you need to go on your
All
back
right.
end and just click reports for the year really quick to find when that was because you did a really great job of consistently every week using links. I basically didn't even lift a finger. So I'm like so happy I made anything. So this is a funny one. So Carlane LLC, Lainey and Carly, they did their like business bundle earlier this year.
Client bundle or something like that. Client bundle.
Yeah, the client bundle, and I was affiliate for them. I made a little more than $1,000 doing that, so that was like really cool. I was like their best
I made
affiliate.
like 150 from that. I don't remember anything I make from these affiliates. I need to write it down. But you were the best one for sure.
Thank you. And then I was part of a calligraphy summit. Joyce Gutierrez of, oh gosh, I can't remember her business name, but she is one half of the Modern Creative podcast. And so I did write it down. I made $50 from being part of that. But it was more cool just to be part of it than anything.
Okay. I pulled up my Amazon. I made $3,421.07.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. I mean, I literally put those affiliate links in like everything I do, like Instagram. I mean, it is just like a few cents, but it adds up. Like it adds up over time.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that's cool. Now I want to look at the rest of them, but I don't know where it is. So we'll do that later.
Yeah, you have to find all of them. Okay, so let's go ahead and transition then into some of your other statistics that you had as well. And then we can kind of do like a month by month breakdown of like highlights of our year to wrap it up.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, so I did write down, you guys, some other stats that I just thought were noteworthy. So I feel like 2020 was the year of Etsy growth for me. Well, one, because I spent like a buttload of money on Etsy ads. So I saw huge growth there. And like I said, we're going to do a whole episode about that. So just hold on to your bootstraps. Okay. But my Etsy orders were up 415% over last year, which I thought was bananas. Visits were up 394% over last year. And actually, I pulled up my whole little stat page because I was like, I feel like there was more cool stuff. Oh, and then my Etsy ad traffic visits were up 2,579%, which just shows how much I spent on Etsy ads. But like everything was up so much, which I thought was really, really interesting. Like literally like the little chart thing. It's just literally like zoop, like a little slope. And it like really picks up after one a day in May. Like after June, July is just when everything starts to like go up, 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 up. And you're just like, oh, okay. So that was cool. Etsy was like a really big part of my revenue this year. So I love Etsy, you guys. If you're not on Etsy, you should get on it. I mean, it's just so nice to have that built-in audience. Like, and I think there was just like that push for small businesses, and people like knew to go on Etsy. So it was just like nice to be on there and, you know, getting people from Etsy over to my website as well. Like if people send a message and ask anything, like, can I get a discount? I'd be like, oh, if you sign up my email list, here's a 20% off code. So I felt like I like really utilized Etsy well in terms of like a funnel, driving people back to my website and like purchasing from there. So there was like quite a few times where I snagged the sale from Etsy and got them to go to my website instead. So I feel like that was cool.
Uh-oh, they're going to come after you and shut your shop
They're going to get me. I know. But like, they're like, oh, I'm looking for this on sale. I'm like, well, there's a sale if you buy from my website right now. Because like I do sales on my website, but not on Etsy. So
very smart.
So it kind of worked out really well. And then let's see, what else did I have on here? Oh, more retail stats. So this year I had 3,375 orders, and last year was 929. And almost all of these orders occurred in the back half of the year, so over 6 months. So that's why I'm really excited for 2021 to see what like a full year of orders will look like. So after like one a day in May, where I did one product a day, that just like skyrocketed things for me and helped so much. My average order value was $58. That just means each order is an average of $58. Like it's not, so I like to get your sales up. Okay. So now we're talking about like what I want to do in 2021, but my goal is to increase revenue. Obviously my goal is for 300,000 in revenue this year. I always do like huge goals for myself because why not? So to do that, I want to increase my average order value by $10. And so instead of my average order value being 58, I want it to be 68. And also increase my weekly order average, which in 2020 was 65 orders a week. I want to increase that to 100 orders a week. And I was going to do that number as 85 orders a week for my goal, but I think I can aim for 100 because literally in the first week of 2021, I've already hit 100 orders for this week. So now, like, I feel like it was just like my order or my average is skewed because the first half of the year was like not products, you know what I mean? So it was like 2 orders a week. So I'm like, okay, how can I like make these goals like lofty, you know?
Yeah. And how exciting too that like January, like you didn't feel like there was a huge slump. You're like, oh, this is nice. I have 100 orders.
I didn't really know what to expect after like a big Christmas. And I was like, okay, there's going to be like nothing, you know, because January is always like the year or like the month of zeros. But then I was like, things have like kind of not stayed the same, but like I leveled off at a good pace. And I'm like, okay, I don't have to be so scared. Like it's just interesting. So like I said, I feel like this is like my first year in business again, like starting with the products, you know, even though I did accidentally just book a save the date, but whoops. Anyway, so my daily goal for the year is to make at least $600 per day because you need to make $300 a day to make $100,000 a year. But if you actually want to pocket $100,000, you need to make $200,000 a year. So my daily goal is at least $600 a day. So I like to figure out how I can hit that. Which I like to have a daily number goal. It's just like fun to be like, oh, okay, I got that. And like some days you might, you know, multiply that by like 4 and then you're like, okay, I'm good to go for the next 4 days or whatever. Like, so
wait, can I ask you a question too? I want to backtrack a little bit because your Etsy orders were up so much this year. And did you have to deal with many crazies, or were people relatively good to you?
I still feel like there's a handful of crazies, but it wasn't like unmanageable, like, and there was probably like one or two crazies and then just like a bunch of being like, where's my order? Why isn't it here yet? And people just asking because they just don't understand to like look at a tracking number, and just like they need their handheld. So there was a lot of that, probably like 3 or 4 a day, I would say, on Etsy of people needing hand holding. So, but like I had my little email ready to go and like just insert their tracking number. It wasn't like that hard to deal with, I guess. It's just like, it's just like annoying. And then you just get the ones that like the way they reach out to you just instantly makes you so mad because you're like, why can't you just be like, hello, how are you? Like, so every email response would just be like the nicest one possible. So they would feel so bad. They were like, did not receive order. And I'm like, here's your tracking. It literally says it's out for delivery today. Like, why can't you just look at it? Oh, jeez Louise. And then also like just talking more about like Christmas, the little holiday shipping updates page I made on my website with the like gift notes for things that weren't there yet was one of the best things I've ever done. Like, I don't know why I've never done that every single year, but even people who got their order would email me and be like, hey, I saw that on your site. And I just want to say like, that was so sweet. It shows how much you care about your customers. And I loved it. Loved that idea. I like, this is my first purchase from you, but I really appreciate like how far you go for your customers. Like I got probably like 10 emails of people who were like, I already have my stuff, but I just love this, or people who didn't get it. And we're just like, this was super helpful. So I got like such positive feedback on that. Like definitely do that, you guys, next year. Make a site or like a page on your website for that. And it was nice to have every question like in one place for them to look at,
Yeah, Cami, I don't think I've seen that website page yet.
I think I took it down, but I can send it to you.
Yeah, I would love to see that because I didn't realize it was collectively like all in one place. So that's really cool.
Like a holiday shipping updates thing, being like, here's what the deal with mugs. Here was the cut, like all the cutoffs, like why everything's going so slow, how to turn on tracking notifications. Here's the gift notes you can download, 2 different options if your gift hasn't gotten there yet, like blah, blah, blah. Like it was all just like laid out. So I could just like basically send that link for anyone and answered all their questions. So I think that dramatically cut down the number of like follow-up responses after because that would be in like the email I would send to people if they were asking about where their order was. So I didn't get like, sometimes you'll just still get like, yeah, but I still don't have it. But they would read that and then be like, oh, okay. Like, I feel like it was a very good like pacifier.
Yes, I know. There are always ways to creatively manage things. And I would say too, like when you have your business for a few years and you start gaining confidence, those things don't feel as scary, to be honest. Like to get an email from someone where it's like, okay, this is like annoying, but I'm not scared or I'm not frightened or I'm not going to like let them hold me on a hook for a bad review, like at a certain point.
I know, like the first year when you get people being like, where's my order? It feels like the absolute end of the world. You're like, oh my gosh. And it's like the worst feeling. And I'm just like, you'll get it when you get it. Like, like I did my part. I don't know. So yeah, it definitely doesn't feel like the end of the world as much. Maybe you just get like really thick skin. You're just like, okay, it's just part of, it's just part of business, like dealing with customers and people's requests and stuff like that. So I know.
Yep.
I took an email this morning. She was like, did not receive order. And I like looked up her name and her email. She's never ordered anything from me unless she ordered under a different name and a different email. And I'm like, that's literally all the email said. And I was like, I don't have anything under any record of you order anything under your name or your email. Do you have like an order number? Like, I don't know. So who even knows? Oh, and then that email I got, Elizabeth, remember the one that said like, please do not include glitter. And I was like, I don't know who you are. You've never ordered anything. Like,
I must have had a very bad glitter experience with another shop.
You didn't order anything from me. Like, and it came directly to my email. It's just so funny.
Oh, that's right. That's so funny. Yeah, for a second I was like, maybe they ordered something and they were like, please don't put glitter in the packaging.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. And I was like, oh, and then I searched their name on on like all the sites and I was like, and their email and I'm like, nothing. It's so weird.
But do you even put glitter in your packages? That's
I don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, geez, Louise. Okay. I feel like I went on a
Oh,
ramble there,
hilarious.
so rein me back in.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's go ahead and take a quick break, and we will finish up Cammie's year right after this. Hey guys, we just wanted to hop in and talk about one of our amazing resources, the A to Z directory. All of us have thought at some point, how did she do that or how did she make that? And maybe you don't know where to start or how the heck to produce this amazing product you've dreamt up.
Well, the A to Z directory is the missing puzzle piece in your biz, you guys. Seriously. So it's built in the form of a yearly membership, and it's your one-stop shop for finding suppliers and vendors for all the things. Literally where to print everything from custom invitations, greeting cards, mugs, koozies, acrylic printing, letterpress, custom ribbon. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. And it literally goes from A to Z. From acrylic printers to zipper pouches, we have it in the A to Z directory.
We want to help all of you search less and create more with this list of 300 plus vendors and suppliers. Don't worry, they're very organized. It's not going to be overwhelming and confusing when you join. And this membership also includes access to a private Facebook community. It's incredibly active and involved. And if you need a question answered fast, that is definitely the place to go.
Yeah, our Facebook group really is the best. You guys, everyone is so helpful in there. And we're in there too, answering questions you guys might have. So it's a great way to get access to us and ask us things without sliding into our DMs. So we're more likely to answer you in the Facebook group, just saying. Anyway, also in the Facebook group, this is new for 2020 and we're really excited about it. We are hosting monthly Power Hour Q&A sessions that are live, and these are only available to our A to Z directory members. So you can hop in with us live and ask us all your burning questions in real time and just hang out with us every month. And we do these at different times so you can actually be there live, and the replays are always available in the Facebook group for members.
This resource is priced at $147 a year, which honestly is extremely affordable and it's full of so many benefits, such as exclusive vendor coupons for members only. And we would love to have you guys join. Seriously, it's kind of like our family and our tribe. So visit bizbirthdaybash.com/directory to sign up today and use coupon code podcast2020 to receive $20 off your first year. That's podcast, all caps, 2020 for $20 off your first year.
We can't wait to see you in the Facebook group. Okay, we're back.
All right, we're back, everybody.
Okay, where was I? I feel like I pretty much wrapped up my year, unless anyone has any questions. Let's ask the live audience. No,
well, you have some notes about like how to increase your average orders.
Okay. Let me back up here. Oh yeah, so I talked about
and like your strategy. Yeah, your strategy for 2021.
Oh yeah, this is just a little tidbit for you guys. But like I said, I wanted to in 2021. One of my goals is to increase my average order value from $58 to $68. And to do that, to bring up your average order value, you need to focus on products that pair well together so that people are like adding more to their cart at one time. So instead of being like, oh, just get a notepad, like now they'll get, show them that the notepads and pencils do really well together. So that's like a pairing that they would buy more. So that increases that average order value. And also bring in some higher price point items. So if I want to increase it by $10, maybe I need to bring in some other things that cost more than a $5 gift card. So like a $24 product or a $30 product, just to help bring up that average order value, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So those are two things that I'm looking to do more in the new year, is just like working on those, how to show things like paired together and like how they work together, because I know exactly like what things are going to look cute together. So just like pictures on my Instagram that show off like, hey, this, because a lot of times I'll just show one product at a time, but just showing how they look together is going to be really important for me this year. And then I also mentioned I wanted to increase my customer amount, like my order amount, from averaging 65 orders a week to at least 100 orders a week. So I've always had a really good returning customer rate. I feel like that's been like one of my strengths, is like people who buy from me continue to buy from me. So like once I get them in, they just keep coming back. Like my returning customer rate is very high. So having those new items for returning customers has worked super well for me. But for this year, I'm specifically aiming for more customer acquisition. So like I feel like 2020 was building up that audience and like getting those new followers. And now it's just like getting them to purchase. So like focusing on nurturing them and like getting them to know me through Instagram and like follow me, like that kind of thing. So just like acquisition to get them to purchase so that they can become a returning customer. So another focus for me is going to be like partnering with other brands for like discovery, focusing on working with influencers and getting like that media coverage. Like Southern Living was really great for me for December. So just like focusing on other things like that I haven't had time for as much in the past.
Mhm.
So yeah, those are some little 2021 strategy goals I'm trying to do.
And it's going to be amazing. I keep saying
Oh man, I hope so. I'm very excited. I'm very excited for Valentine's Day because there's lots of fun stuff coming out. I got to send you all the cards. I think you got to see them.
Oh, please do, because I saw the one of like, will you accept this rose with the chipmunk? And I was dying.
Oh, I already put a lot of the new ones. I already just like put on Etsy. Like as soon as they're done, I just basically put them on Etsy to get them like ranked for SEO, even if I haven't like technically launched anything yet, you know. And that one's already sold like a ton, like in wholesale. That one, like they've already sold. I don't even have them yet. I was like, all right. So that one has like done the best already.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
Yeah, how many of those? So how many cards are you going to order of each Valentine's card?
Well, I just ordered 100 of each yesterday just to see, because sometimes I get nervous, but then I got like a bunch of wholesale orders and I was like, oh shoot, I should have ordered 250 of each, but that's okay. I'll just do another order. I got to order a few more anyway. So I still haven't quite figured out. We did do an episode on this too of like, how much do like I'm always like very tentative, and then sometimes it gets me in trouble. So it's like gotta go big or go home. That's another new thing I need to do in 2021. Just order like 500 cards at a time.
Yeah, go big or go home for sure. Because here's the thing, like even if those don't sell strictly for Valentine's Day, love is year-round, baby. So people are gonna come back for that like chipmunk one all the freaking time because people love the Bachelor and Bachelorette.
It's
like
so true.
They just will.
I know. It's also like, now we're just going off another tangent, but like storage wise in my office, like of course I want like 500 of each card to make my life so much easier. But I'm like, okay, like realistically, this is why I need a warehouse. I'm calling Alex right now. Be like, build the warehouse. It's fine. Okay, moving on. Don't worry about that. We'll figure that out later. We'll do an episode about that.
Still work in the house, Cammie. You can just store stuff in the warehouse in the backyard.
I rearranged my office too. I need to send you a picture.
Okay, sounds good.
I'm done.
You're done. All right. Well, that was a great overview, and I learned a lot. So now we're just going to do a fun little breakdown of our year, like month to month, just kind of like things we did, highlights, some business related, some personal. But I really wrote out a very specific list. Cammie, not so much. So Cammie, you can hop in when you like
if I remember anything important.
Exciting. So January and February were very funny for me to look on the calendars because like every day was like time blocked and I had a bunch of meetings and I hit the ground running, networking and doing all of this stuff. And then it was like mid to late March hits and the calendar's empty. But January, I did do a ton of networking and I was doing a bunch of client work for different weddings. And then February was when I went to that bachelorette party I was telling you about in Joshua Tree in California. And I also did the Foxglove open house. So that's a venue here in Marietta. So I did that to try to network with more people and vendors. And then March, I started to finalize branding for Eliza Ann for the April launch, working with Catherine of Creme Brands. And then I had my two siblings who go to Wheaton College in Illinois in town for spring break when the shutdowns began happening. And they literally got emails from the Wheaton staff, basically, or the president of the school that was like, you guys need to come back from spring break, like pack up your stuff and move home.
Yikes.
It was the worst. So that was just so weird because it was like they left to drive back to school knowing that they were going to have like 24 hours to pack and then drive back to Colorado. I was still working on weddings like a little bit at that point because no one had any idea what was going on. But that's my first quarter right there, January, February, March. So do you have any first quarter things that really stuck out to you?
I was also working on a ton of weddings and like getting all prepped for all the fall weddings that were happening, fall, summer, all that jazz. I also did a bachelorette party. I went to Disney with one of my friends and I was working on her wedding invitations at the same time too. So it was like really fun to be in person and like talking to her about stuff. And then like immediately when I got back, like we went to print for her wedding invitations, and then obviously ended up postponing. So then March was all just like March and April, everyone was like, what do we do? What do we do with like all the clients? And then it just kind of began like the postponement process. So just like juggling all of that. And then we were doing in April, getting ready to open up Stationer Summit, which was also a weird time for everything.
Yeah. Right. Yeah, there was a lot of different things going on. So for the second quarter, April, May, and June. In April, I was like, the calendar is eerily empty. That's literally what I wrote in the notes. The Stationer Summit was open for registration for a week. And then I launched my website. So elizaann.com went live, and I wrote a blog post on how weird it was to be like launching something new for a wedding business during COVID-19, but was really excited to have that done and out in the world. And then May, Cami and I continued to do live Q&A sessions with the educators for the summit. And then Will and I did our first like COVID trip, quote unquote, if you will. And we drove to Wilmington, North Carolina to see some friends. So that was like our first time being out of the house in like 2 months.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. It felt like it was weird. I remember feeling like really weird and like anxious to just be like out and about doing stuff. It was so bizarre. And then June things kind of started going downhill for me. So I started going to counseling again, and Cami and I talked, and that's when we took a summer break from the podcast because we honestly just like both needed some mental space. I think like it wasn't just me, like just like the weight of the world of everything, and it was just a crazy year from so many different perspectives. Like COVID aside, just a lot of things happening culturally too. So we took a step back to give ourselves some room and took July and August off completely. And then June, I also got to visit Cami. And not to say I was very fun, but I got to visit.
I made it fun, Elizabeth. I was like, I know you're really sad right now, but I'm going to be annoyingly happy. And we're going to eat sandwiches outside.
Yeah. And so I also drove during that trip too. I flew when I saw you in
October.
Yeah. But at that point, like really early on, like I was still trying to just figure out what was going on. And it's like, is it safe to travel? Is it safe to fly via plane? Like all of these different things.
I know. Remember when you were here and I just wanted you to eat a popsicle by the pool so bad. And every time I would offer you, I'd be like, no, thank you. I don't want one. I was like, Elizabeth, if you don't eat this freaking popsicle by the pool, I'm going to lose it. And I think I would offer you one like every 30 minutes. And you're like, no, I don't want one. And I was like, eat a popsicle.
That is what happens when you're depressed. Like a popsicle doesn't even sound fun, and it's so sad. Guys, I'm doing so much better now. I took a lot better care of myself.
Popsicles, so come on down.
I will. Don't you worry. Okay, what about that quarter for you, Cami? April, May, June.
All I remember is doing one a day in May. That's literally all I remember.
Okay. Yes, that kind of like consumed your life, 100%. And I would say that is the time when you really started dealing with like postponements and cancellation.
Yeah.
Because I think people held on at first for you, and then
yeah, that's true.
Then things started breaking down.
And then I also had a couple clients that went ahead doing like smaller weddings, and so they had like a secondary event that we would do stuff for. So I was still working on a lot of wedding related things. I think. Yes. I don't know when exactly it was, but that was sometime around there.
Yeah. And so then in the third quarter, July, August, September is when there was like a whole pivot and change for me, because obviously, as I've shared before, July was when I started working at Publix. And that was like the kickstart or jumpstart I needed to like help me feel like myself again, because I was just like wasting away at home basically. And like we still lived in our apartment at the time. So like the cabin fever can get bad in a house for sure. But like the level of cabin fever in an apartment is kind of like unreal, because you're sharing a bunch of walls with everyone else who's also home all the time. And it's like, you don't have a yard to go out and shovel dirt in and get outside, you know.
Gotta shovel the dirt, you know.
Shovel the dirt, just move some dirt. I don't know. It like I might have already told this story on the podcast before, but I remember Will and I were going on a walk because that kind of became our daily thing to keep us sane. Is like every day after work, we would go on a walk. And Will saw a guy like shoveling mulch in his yard. And as we're walking by, Will goes, "That looks really nice." And I was laughing so hard because Will has always told me, you know, like growing up, you're kind of like forced to do yard work by your parents. So there's like not a very good, like the association for yard work is like negative until you have a yard that's like your own, right? But to hear him like say that was so funny.
That is hilarious.
To be like, shoveling mulch like looks really nice.
So great right now.
So then in August, I did get to visit my immediate family in Colorado, which was also so good for me. I continued to work at Publix, and that was the month I designed my Thank You Society ornament and started doing pre-sales for that. So I designed that baby back in August. I was ahead of
the game.
Ahead of the game. And then, so last month of Q3, September, Will and I also did an anniversary trip to Montana, which was also really nice because it's like you go to Montana and you're really not around anybody else at all. We were like at a pretty like secluded like lodge area with like a very small group of people that were also staying there that week, but everyone like has their own cabins and everything. And so it was great. And then September was my last day of working at Publix. And then, much to our shock, we started like house hunting and went under contract for a house.
Which I knew you would, even though you were like, oh, it's not the right time. I'm like, oh, you want to start looking, you're going to buy one, 100%. Like,
yes. And so, yes, that happened. It was like the very end of September. I think we were under contract. So that was my Q3. And Cami, are there any things in there you have to sneak in?
I don't know. I don't remember anything. What was I doing? I don't know. Probably sitting by the pool.
Doing just products and stuff.
Like, genuinely, that is like an actual blur for me. The third quarter.
Yeah. I mean, like, right, the whole year's a blur. I had to really like dig through my calendar to kind of find out, like, to remember what I did with my year. Because like when I was first putting this together, I didn't even remember I'd worked at Publix.
Oh my gosh.
Like, how sad
That's like
is
a pretty
that?
big one.
It's a pretty big one, and it didn't occur to me to write it down until I looked at my calendar and saw my Publix shifts, and I was like, I should probably write that down. Okay, so Q4, October, November, and December. October was a lot of like waiting game to close on the house, and that was when I was really starting to be like deep in the contract work, like freelance stuff that I was telling you guys about that was such a huge part of my revenue stream this year. And still a little bit of wedding work because I did have a November client move forward with her wedding. And so that still happened. So got some things done for her. November was actually, because we closed on the house October 30th, the first 2 weeks of November was like really intense work on the house as much as possible before we moved in November 16th. And then the rest of that month, I kind of continued to work on my contract project that I had going and hosted family for Thanksgiving, which was also like so wonderful for my soul. And I really needed it. And it was really fun and chaotic, but I loved it. And December was like final countdown until Christmas, shipping out ornaments, finishing up my contract work for the year, and then starting a save the date for actually a 2022 client. So I need to like work on their stuff today too.
Yes. Okay. So then you came to visit me in October, right?
Yes. We did our live webinar in October.
I forgot we did that. What was that even about? Oh, that was our 4-year business anniversary. Like I said,
4-year business anniversary.
I don't remember anything.
Yes. This year was just, it just was what it was. But that was our like 4 elements for a biz profit party or something to make your business a profit party.
Something catchy like that, you guys.
Something super catchy that Cami came up with. So that was the fourth quarter, and we all know your fourth quarter was insane.
Yeah, I just remember after you came down, I was like, I have got to get cranking on getting out my Christmas stuff because I'm already getting wholesale orders for things. I don't have any of my new designs out yet. And then I like shifted gears. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do my Christmas stuff in like kind of the new style sort of thing and see how that goes. And so did that. And I feel like Q4 was like game changer for me and for everything. And just like kind of, I don't know, getting some real traction with wholesale orders, retail orders, all that jazz. It just was like the, I don't know, really good jumpstart, to like pass the one a day in May. But this was just like some real traction. I felt like I put the car together in May and then I like took it out on like a test drive and like did awesome in Q4. So that was just all like packing orders. And I went up to, I saw you again. I met your family. I got to meet Elizabeth's family in Birmingham because we were there at Barber. My husband does a race weekend there the weekend before Thanksgiving. So we were there. Elizabeth's family came over. We got to hang out again. And then I was with my family for a week. And that was like when I got like 1,000 million orders and it was Black Friday and everything. And then we got home. Like as soon as we got home in the driveway, I like went into my studio and just started like packing and shipping orders. So I was like, oh my gosh. So I like started that season like kind of in the hole a little bit. Which so next year probably won't be able to go home for Thanksgiving or at least have someone here. I don't know. But like I always was telling you guys, I was telling y'all Christmas is gonna be crazy this year. And who was right? Cammy was right. Okay. It was crazy this year. So yeah, that was like,
and it cracks me up too that it was like so many people are like, where's my order? Why is shipping taking so long? And I'm like, have you been living under a rock?
Hello.
Like there's been a pandemic happening this year. Everything is delayed. But sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Mean, it is so true. I just can't like someone was like, it must just be a fluke. Only my order was. I was like, literally every single one of my orders have been delayed. Like, I don't know. It's not just you. Welcome to the earth. Welcome to 2020. I don't know what to tell you. So yeah.
I have something, Cammie, that I mailed. Like we had to mail back our Google Fiber box from the apartment. We mailed it back FedEx on December 8th. It is still not there.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, I had people being like, you really shouldn't. This was like some of the people that were annoying. They were like, you really shouldn't use USPS. Like real business owners use UPS and FedEx. And like, you really need to reconsider that for the next year, like as a business owner. And I was like, I don't know if you realize this, but literally every mail service is delayed, like including LaserShip, DHL. Well, not DHL International because they just are like magic or something. like the only thing that's getting there is Amazon because they're delivered by unicorns. Like that's it. So
right, they have their whole entire own shipping.
Thing. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know, but I loved Q4. Like I love the chaos and like having too much to do and be like, how will I ever do this? Like I love that. So.
I know you thrive off of it. Yeah. I definitely thrive off of being like busier and having a full schedule. That's for sure. That's why I like always hate the new year. I know you love the new year. I always like hate it because I'm like, January.
I not really do hate January, like especially like 2 or 3 years ago when we were doing weddings because it was like literally just like the scariest time. Like when we first started our business, I felt like January was just extra scary because you just didn't know what to expect. Like you had no confidence in the future kind of, and not like confidence, but just like, will I book a client? I don't know. It was like so hard to find clients and it just felt very sad. And no one's really doing a lot in January. Like wedding season doesn't really start picking up again. And so it just felt like you're like, this is it. I'm the worst business owner. I'm not making any money. And it all kind of works out fine. But this year, like I said, I'm excited because it just feels like I'm starting over a little bit. Like,
yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited too because I also joined a group for like luxury, luxury wedding vendors. There it is. And it's called Empower, Encourage, Educate, or something like that. I always mix up what order the E's come in. But I joined that, and then I'm part of like an accountability group that meets bi-weekly. So that'll be really nice to be like plugged in with other wedding vendors on an actual, what am I trying to say? Consistent, thank you. The consistent basis to be leveraging that and networking and trying to get my foot like back in the door for weddings, if that's even what I want to do. I know I say this all the time, but I don't know. I just like still feel compelled to do it. I don't know why.
Because you do love it.
Because I love
you do love it.
because I love it.
I know.
Totally.
I know. Weddings are like so emotional as a business owner. There's just like so much heightened emotions, and you just like absorb that from your client, and it just is like very stressful. You know, like,
Yeah.
it's just weird.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But okay, is that our year in review? Is that it? Did we do it?
I
We
think
did it.
so. I think we got through everything, and it was a long, juicy episode, over an
I
hour.
know. Oh my goodness. Yes, we did it. We did it. I know that was a long, juicy episode. Hopefully you guys get some takeaways from that. I always love hearing people's years and numbers and like how things went, and it's just interesting to see. So hopefully you guys like that. And we want to encourage you. I keep hitting my mic. I'm so sorry. We want to encourage you guys as well to maybe do this for yourself too. Like, do the income category breakdown, see where most of your money is coming from. It might surprise you. It might be like, oh, I really need to lean into this, or hey, this isn't even, I'm working so hard on this and I'm not even making money from it. Like, why am I even doing it? So it's a really good exercise to start the year and just like know where your money is coming from and what you can improve, what you can get rid of. Be a great way to start 2021.
Yes, absolutely agree. Well, thank you for joining us, everybody. If you could please take some time to leave us a rating and a review on iTunes, we would really appreciate it so that other creatives like you can find our podcast and benefit from all of our amazing free content that we have on here. And if you have any questions for us, please go to bizbirthdaybash.com/Q and cake. If you scroll down actually to the footer of the website, that's where you can find the link for it, if that makes it easier. And drop questions there if you have them, and then maybe we'll answer it in an episode.
Maybe we'll do a full episode on it. We do that too. So so drop your questions there. And yeah, we love you guys. We can't wait to see what you guys do in this new year as well. So see you next week.
See ya.